Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Fangirlz Assemble. I know it's on a Wednesday instead of a Sunday. That's because Comic Slayer right here, this lady is going to Heroes Con this weekend. So she'll be very busy.
I'm so excited, though.
And we are excited for you. I'm excited to see what you pick up there. I look forward to like the post Heroes Con haul or highlight video.
Yeah, Mary and I, because I'm meeting Mary M, as you all may
So
know from the
jealous.
chat, of course, we're hanging out, and we were planning to do not this Thursday, not tomorrow, but like the next Thursday will be our Heroes Con like recap. We're gonna show you stuff we got. It'd be a fun thing, I think. So, but you know what? If you don't get to go to Heroes Con, you know what you should do to get the best deals on collected editions?
What's that?
Treat yourself and go to instocktrades.com. Our great sponsor, where you can get more than 50% off.
That's true.
If you're in the States, you throw $50 in your car, you get free shipping. How can you not? How can you not?
Let me tell you, I did that right before the show.
Tell everyone what you got. Maybe they'll want to copy you.
I got Poison Ivy.
Yes.
I got Wonder Woman Historia. I got Cosmo Knights book 2, baby. Just came out. And I got I'm Kind of Chubby and He's My Hero. Or You're My Hero. I always call it the wrong thing. Volume 2.
That's beautiful. All that together was free shipping, right?
Exactly.
Come on.
4 books for about $60. Deals. It's still cheaper than Target and Amazon's buy 2 get 1 free deal. So pretty good.
I've noticed that too. So if you have, if you're in the States especially, go, give your money to IST. Amazon doesn't need it. Target doesn't need it. Support IST because they're going to give you the best deals. And you're not going to worry about the packaging. Because, oh my gosh, every time, if I ever have to, unfortunately, resort to Amazon for anything, I'm just crossing my fingers,
Yeah.
But you don't do that with IST. It's great.
Exactly. Because I checked. I was like, well, because all of TikTok's like, whoa, guys, it's a buy 2 get 1 time, right? I was like, no, we're going to.
Yeah.
We're going IST.
We got the real scoop here.
That's a real scoop.
That's right.
Yeah. And who knows how those hardcovers would come in here. So, and I am certain that they have dust jackets, unfortunately. So they would get messed up and I would just be irritated.
Oh, they would be like ripped apart. It would be terrible.
So I just can't live that life.
Like, get up.
But anyways, we're here. Happy Pride. It's June. What's up? As you can tell by the corporate prideification of everything. Let them know. We are. So we figure we'll go easy on ourselves. We won't review a long thing this week since you have Heroes Con coming up. We will just talk about our top 10 queer books. I know we've done that before. I'm sure some of these picks will be the same.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fine. There'll be some new stuff on here. And one day someone will look through and make a comparison list. It won't be me.
It won't be me either. In fact,
but probably somebody will. Some years down the line as we continue to do this until like we can't walk or something. I don't know. That's a weird thing to say.
Well, I have to say
that wouldn't affect it anyways.
Right.
But
it wouldn't. But I don't know about you. This is not my definitive top 10 list. It's just not. There's no way. I feel like I have so many to choose from and that I love that could potentially be in the top 10. I was just like, let me grab some of my all-time faves and put them together. So I don't have an order, okay? And this is not definitive as in like this is not the end all be all. Absolutely. I know there's stuff missing from this. So I just want to put that out there.
Oh, and chances are I've forgotten something midway. And someone will be like, what about this book? And I'm like, oh my God, what have I been doing?
Yeah. 1000% same. Yeah.
So, we're just doing our best. I have a list of 10 queer books that I think are pretty good.
That's pretty much what we should have titled it. Yeah.
These are very long.
We loved a lot. Yeah.
That I'm quite fond of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Frey sent me a long list to really think about for Over New Year's since I haven't scheduled it. So
I love that, Friday.
I get it. Well, we go back and forth. Chances are some of ours are the same. Probably gonna happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My first pick, still one of my favorites, Kiss Number 8.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That one has continued to be one of my favorite first, second books. I still don't own it, surpringly, because I have a bad habit. Even though it's one of my favorites of all time, I have a bad habit of when I go to buy new books, not buying books that I read from the library, right? Or
same.
online because I'm like, well, eventually I'll get that because I want to go ahead and read the new thing, which is silly because I want that in my
I do the same thing, Maddie. I mean, ultimately, we're saving money though, right? Because like we already read that thing. I do want to reread it though. I do want to own it at some point. I'm hoping to stumble upon it at like a half price or somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I want to like it's serendipitously run into it, right?
And that would absolutely be potentially even in my top 10. I'm gonna have to read it again. I love it, but yeah,
it's been a while because I couldn't even tell you the whole story. I just know that she's kissed a lot of people.
That's right.
The 8th one has been the most special to her, being the most like momentous, right?
Yeah,
and it's a queer book. It's a typical like young adult graphic novel, queer coming of age, all of that kind of stuff. But I remember reading it and crying because it just hit so well. Like it just really touched something in me, and I think I'll always think of that fondly. No matter, I think I'll always feel nostalgic for it now. Like as I have more and more years of comic book reading under my belt, I'll always think about that one.
Yeah, and with the name and like what you expect from it, it's so much deeper than that, And there was some trans representation as well, and just a lot of like great stuff in that book.
Oh yeah,
it's so unexpected.
That's one that would be a great like Netflix film.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
like it feels like that could be the next To All the Boys I've loved before or whatever. Not the next Kissing Booth because that movie is a movie, but
What was that one that we loved that was queer? Why can't I think of the name of it? You know what I'm talking about.
That could be anything on Netflix.
On Netflix.
Is it a movie?
Yeah, it came out like maybe 2 years ago or so, and we were both like, "Oh my gosh, this is happening!" Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was.
It could be anything. I'm sure it was. Whatever it was.
It was great. All right. Well, no one's gonna be surprised that I have Giant Days on this list.
I saw it coming.
I mean, of course you did. Of course, we're following the 3 best friends, and one of them, she discovers throughout Giant Days that she is queer, and we get to explore that and some of her maybe terrible girlfriends. Like, it is a great time. And again, we're just living life. We're living life. I love Giant Days. It's so funny and fun and nonstop greatness, and they're coming out with new hardcovers very soon, so you guys should be picking this up in hardcover format if you have not already.
Mark joined that Kickstarter, so
hey Mark. Yeah, I'm stoked.
Okay, my next one is Spinning by Tillie Walden.
Of course.
It's hard to choose a Tillie Walden book, which one I like. Really, it's all of them. If you're like, what are some of your favorite queer books? All Tillie Walden is.
Yes, same.
All of it. But I wanted to choose one of them. And Spinning's one that I've read a few times now. I mean, I've read all of them kind of a few times. But I really like Spinning because it's also a memoir for hers as well. So it talks about her own life and experiences and what it was like for her in particular. Love that.
Yeah.
So much.
Spinning's another great one. Absolutely. My top probably 20 or something. I don't know. It's not on my list, but I do love it as well. What is on my list is On a Sunbeam by Tillie Walden.
If I had to choose a favorite out of the two, it's On a Sunbeam.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, probably me too, for sure. Like this, I mean, nothing beats the art in this, this beautiful hardcover. Mm-hmm. Of course, wonderful story about space and life and love, and it's just wonderful. So if you haven't read this yet, what are you waiting on?
If you want a sci-fi fantasy space epic,
yes,
that's On a Sunbeam.
And it's gay. Come on.
And it's gay.
Love that.
Speaking of sci-fi fantasy epics, Cosmo Knights.
Yeah.
Which volume 2 just dropped. I wasn't reading it online because I wanted to read it when the book came out. So I don't know what's been happening with book 2, but it is officially out now. It should be on my way on its way to be shortly, probably for my SD. Love Cosmo Knights. I found it at Half Price Books. In the back it said like gay space pirates or something. I was like, I'm in. Mm-hmm. It definitely caters to a lot of people from my generation that grew up with like anime that featured like women being kind of princesses, being the ones like fighting back for their like saving the princesses, right? As well as like giant mechs. So it feels like an ode to this 90s anime I grew up with. So for me, that is perfect because basically there's a group of like people that operate this giant mech, and they enter into fighting battles to like save these princesses from being married off for like royalty lines. And it's super fun. The colors are great. The art's great. I love Hannah Templar. Chef's kiss, perfect.
Yep, it's so good. I need to reread it. I'm very excited for the second one. So I agree.
Yep.
So far, we've like read all of the same books, I think.
Everything on this, except for maybe one, you've read. So
love that. Love that.
And as we're talking, just like we said, because we probably forgot. I already forget. There's a couple things I was like, why didn't I put this on here?
Yeah. Totally get it. Of course, I had to put Heartstopper on here.
Of course.
Again, if you watch the Netflix series and you really liked it, totally highly recommend the comics as well, because they're so cute and lovely, and I adore the art throughout these as well. And you're just...
Oh no, my phone's really frozen. Chat, which one of us is frozen? Oh, I hear you.
Okay, hi. It's hard to ever know.
I will never. Now I know to ask, because
it's probably always me.
I think it's you, because I think my connection's good, but who knows? But yeah, Heartstopper's really great, and you can read it on Webtoon for free. It's back on Webtoon. So if you're interested and haven't read it, I super recommend it. Kristan froze. Okay.
Y'all don't have to call me out like that.
There's more coming out. Alice Oseman? What's it called?
Yes, Oseman. Yeah,
Oseman also has a lot of other books and prose out as well. But I loved the show. Like, I remember not watching it right away because I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it ahead of time. I had like a down day and I watched it, and just like lifted my spirits so much. It's so comfy and cozy.
Good. Yeah.
I will pick something that's similar. Not similar to that. Now I'm jumping around in my list because I feel like it. So one of my other newer picks that was not on a previous one. I'm Kind of Chubby and You're My Hero. It's a manga.
Love that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I don't read a lot of like boys love manga because it comes out of a place that feels kind of, I don't know. I feel like you can write whatever, but like usually boys love manga tends to be a certain type, and it is directed towards a certain type of audience, and it just doesn't feel real. It's a very like perfect bodied men, and there's a stereotype that's involved with a lot of that kind of manga, and that's not really what I'm into. But that's not this one, and it's very body positive, and I think that's what really draws me to it. And I've talked about this before, but the main guy, he's an actor, and he's heavy set. He does like play acting. He's also been doing some TV roles. And this guy who's a baker becomes his like biggest fan, and they start talking to one another and kind of supporting one another. And it just feels like such a genuine, true, like friendship at its heart, but also something like it's going to grow into something more, but it feels real. And it's also so special because it shows like a kind of couple you don't normally see in graphic novels, where you do have someone who's heavier set, and not in a way that's like sexualized either, right? Because like I love My Brother's Husband a ton, obviously, but that's also another style of art, right? The bara art, which is fine, love that, it's okay. But this feels very unique, and I have the volume 2 coming towards me now, and I think it's so sweet. And again, I love that he talks about his weight in a way that's not that it's in the way. The only time he ever talks about being healthy is whether it would affect his vocal cords, but not about how he feels about his body. And it's so nice to have a book about somebody who's bigger that we don't focus on that, because so many books still do that anyways, because they won't acknowledge it. But sometimes I want you can say it is, but I don't want to have to go through somebody shaming you about it every time I read a book.
It's refreshing to not have to have that be like a focus. Even like, we're talking about a lot of queer books here, and for something like Heartstopper, for the focus not to be the trauma of like what you have to go through, and there's still like heavier stuff in this, but it's still overall just so light. And I think about the show and how that wasn't necessarily the focus. The focus was not just on like their sexuality, it was really their relationship and like positive things. And so it's so nice to have representation like that as well, that doesn't focus on negativity.
You've got to have both, and that goes for like all like, I don't know, different body types or like just different types of people. Like you always want to be able to have both. Like those stories that feature those things are important, but also the stories that don't are important. So,
Absolutely.
I want to have both.
Well, and for so long we only just had the one kind. It felt like,
Yeah,
So
and then people are
so
like,
nice.
you don't always have to make it about this thing. Well, sometimes you do, and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the story and what's needed.
Absolutely. So true. Yeah. Is it me again? Yeah?
Yep, it's you.
Okay. Oh, Human Star, of course.
It's on my list too.
Of course it is. Yes.
Honestly, if there was going to be a number one, this is pretty close.
I mean, I would agree.
God, it's so good.
So freaking good. It's so good. I feel like I gushed about it, and then thankfully you read it, and now you're gushing about it, and we'll just keep gushing about it. People need to check this out. Again, you can read this also for free online.
Yeah.
And support the paperbacks because you can get them from Blue's store, and you should. And yeah, it's just like it has so much, I think good representation. And it's just, I love the art, I love the color work, and it's set in such a unique, interesting universe, and yeah, it's just, I've never read anything like it.
Yeah, because I mean, this book really, it's a sci-fi, and it involves like clones and robots, and like cloning one's like mind inside of robots, like or like cyborgs, not cyborgs, androids that look like humans. And the way that they explore transness through the lens of being a robotic person is really interesting. There's a lot of nuances there, and at its heart, it's just a story about people becoming comfortable with yourself, and it's just beautiful. And it's another one of those, like we talked about before, where that's the beauty of comic books, because it enables you to engage with something like a certain topic or feelings in a way that is a little more approachable and accessible. And this is beautiful. Like, it's just it's a very human story. Bobby said, completely agree, Kristan. Would have loved such positive representation, healthy queer relationships in media when I was a kid dealing with coming out in the early 90s. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I am so happy for people growing up now and coming out. I mean, it's still super scary, obviously, and things are coming a lot more to the news. But as far as media, to know at least amongst all the craziness in the news and everything, and like the scariness out there, at least you have these stories that do show that love is possible and support is possible.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm just so happy, like books like, this, people can just walk into their library and pick this up. Kids who need some comfort reading for what they're going through, they can see themselves on the page. Like, it's something we, again, grew up in the 90s, like we just didn't have at all.
No.
And if it existed, it wasn't as easily accessible and easy to find out even that it exists.
I would find it in anime or manga. Or I would just get lucky sometimes by finding like a certain movie on TV, right? Or like maybe lucky with a library book or like a Lifetime special. And then that was it. Like, that is the only place I could see any of that. And look at us now being able to like talk about all this stuff that's readily available.
It's wild.
At all times to me.
Yeah. It's great. It's like we've said, like very much we are aware, like it's not like everything's happiness and rainbows, unfortunately. But there's the media is just so much better than it used to be in a great way. And things are so much more accessible, which we love.
I'll go ahead and put my other Blue Delaquanti pick.
Hey.
So I put two on here. Across the Field of Starlight. I love that. Another sci-fi fantasy.
It's great.
Another one that shows so many diverse people engaging in a sci-fi epic, which again you don't see. And I mean, not just diverse as far as like gender representation, but bodies. People do not realize how nice it is to see that. Because everyone's, you get some people that are like, well, why wouldn't they be fit if they're in space or doing this stuff? All bodies looks different even when you're fit. The same way I'm like, all these DC heroes or Marvel superheroes should not have the same body type. It should be different depending on what type of things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like Thor, I like a bigger Thor because he's using real muscle. Why would he have abs?
Yeah.
He should have like a stomach. I want like he's power lifted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fine. I just like a little bit of. Why would Superman be fit? He doesn't need to be. Just got superpowers.
You know what? Maybe I'd like him more if he wasn't.
Just saying.
Maybe it'd make more sense.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, I love Across the. And it's another sci-fi epic. So if you're into that, that's just another one that talks about like things like colonialism and dictatorships and like sort of that kind of deal and like what makes a society utopia versus what does it look like when you don't really have full autonomy over yourself. I was thinking God of War's Thor. He is perfect.
My next pick is Snapdragon. Speaking of ones that I feel like are pretty accessible, for a second, you can probably find this at your local library, if you're in the States at least, and you have a good library near you, I suppose. But if you haven't read Snapdragon,
oh gosh, it's so good.
Oh my gosh, there are witches. There are we're in a magical town, and there are such good side characters that I feel like I can't even go into because I don't want to ruin any.
That's what sucks about it, because one of the best queer love stories I cannot talk about in there. We can't mention that there is a trans kid in there that I think is done very well.
Yes, I love. The trans kid is wonderfully done. Yeah. There's also a beautiful, like you said, queer love story that we can't talk about, but it's so good. It's by Kat Leigh, and I'm gonna read everything they've ever done. They also did Thirsty Mermaids, which is another beautiful favorite of mine. But yeah, everyone needs to be reading this. It's so good, and you know what? I need to reread it soon. I need to reread it for June because how great is it? So good.
Speaking of cats, Thirsty Mermaids is on my list.
Hey,
look at us. We're like, let's just pick different books from the same people.
I love that.
I love Thirsty Mermaids. Also a great one. It's about these 3 mermaids that end up on Earth, or like on land. I mean, and they're trying to turn back into mermaids, but they're having difficulty. Another super body positive book. One that does allegories to transness, right? To like an inability to really define one's gender identity. It's funny. It's so funny.
It's so funny.
Because they just get into these shenanigans. They don't know how to act, and they're really weird about stuff. And they just find their community, and it's about finding family and self-acceptance, and it's such a fun romp. And it's a beautiful hardcover. It's very nice collected edition. So that's if it's a Kat Leigh book, you're in for a good time. You're gonna have fun. The character design is gonna be fantastic, and the colors are always great.
It's so true. Thirsty Mermaids and Snapdragon. You need both of those in your life. If you haven't done it yet, please do it.
Absolutely.
So good. And another banned book that you need to be reading, and I'm sure a lot of people know about just from how much it's been banned this year, and that's of course Genderqueer.
Oh, I haven't read that.
It's being banned on every library, I feel like, at this point, or attempted to. You know how it goes. But it's
probably for title alone. They're too lazy to check what the titles are for anything else.
100%. And I mean, it's nonfiction. It is a graphic memoir about this person's life and being genderqueer, and it's so well done. I think it's really important that it is in libraries for people to access, and I think it's, again, one of those things, people read banned books for a reason, because that shouldn't be happening anyway, and usually there's a reason, and usually it's ridiculous, and that is the case here. And they came out with this beautiful hardcover too. It's really, really nice. Highly recommend it, and I'm sure you can get this at your local library if it hasn't already been.
Even your mom has read Genderqueer.
Hey!
Damn.
Get on it, Maddie.
Your mom's cool.
Yeah, no, that is cool. That's
very cool. Yeah, it's so silly. Banning books is silly. I'll tell you right now, reading queer books did not make me queer.
Well, and it couldn't with certain time frames, right? Because like, they just didn't even exist, really.
I already knew. That wasn't.
Yeah, that's not what's going to do it,
Okay. I should have jumped around on my list, but I just wanted to make sure it was going in line so well. It was kind of match it. So a little bit of a downer, but a fun one. My lesbian experience with loneliness will always be on that list for me. That is a autobiographical, like memoir manga, which is not common. About this woman learning more about herself and her lesbian experience, and also just not having any intimacy, really. She's also one that I don't know if she's realized it or not, but I think she's probably on the spectrum. But she's written a lot of books about really personal experiences, and she really is vulnerable and she gives a lot of info, sometimes more info than you need. But it's so interesting because you really get to like get her true, honest thoughts as she goes through this experience. And she feels very relatable and understandable because the way she draws herself, like the colors that she uses, it's funny at the same time. And it's also like, oh yeah, that's rough to feel like you aren't able to be open and experience things and talk with people, and you're not really sure how to do that. I'm always gonna love it, even when like, because all of her books I pretty much love. There's like one I'm like, it's fine, but I am always gonna have her book up there because of her true honesty, kind of not dissimilar to Lonely at the Center of the World, because I always think of Earth. I guess I always compare those two in my head.
Yeah, I get what you mean. There's something to definitely be said about like, here's everything that I'm putting it out there,
which is not common for Japanese nonfiction.
No, definitely not. Yeah,
especially a woman. Like,
yeah, it's a good one. I like that too. Another one I know you like as well is Bingo Love.
Oh, I do like Bingo Love.
I mean, it's a one and done. Yeah. It's gotten a lot of praise for good reason. This is the special edition they came out with that has like extra side stories with characters in the back, which is really cool. And I believe this particular edition, perhaps just the regular one, I can't remember. Check out the IST reg tag sale.
Yeah.
One of the two is in there, and I think it's like $4. So just saying, if you need something to throw in your cart, get some free shipping, this is it. It's wonderful. It's about two older women, finding love again with each other, which like we don't see. Like two grandmas, come on, we do not tend to see that. And it was just so well done. And T. Franklin, of course, wrote it. And it's a blast. It's a blast. We talked about it previously a lot.
Oh yeah,
with good reason.
Oh man, what have I think I have. Oh, I have two left. Okay. The other one is Juliet Takes a Breath. Now, it's been so long since I've read it, I can't remember all the details, so I can't talk about it fully, which I feel bad about, which is...
I get what you mean, though.
Because I get to reread it. But it's another, like, story of someone realizing their sexuality and coming into their own, like, the way that they want to identify and dress and look and appear to other people. As they're doing a story, they're talking to a mentor of theirs. I haven't read the novel, only read the comic book, but I love the comic book. And I'm pretty sure it's still in Comixology Unlimited or like Kindle Unlimited, so I recommend checking that out.
I think that's true.
Juliet Takes a Breath.
I also really liked it, and it's been a while since I read it as well, so I can't say much on it, but I remember really enjoying it. There was a lot of important conversation.
Yeah, it's a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Another one I haven't read in a bit, but I loved so much is The Girl from the Sea.
Oh, I almost put it on there.
I mean, it's so Molly Knox Ostertag.
Yeah.
Wonderful in everything they do, but the art's beautiful, the story is beautiful. It's so positive, and it is from put out by Graphics, the imprint of Scholastic, and it is directed toward a younger audience. Again, it's just great at all ages book, but that makes it wonderful because, you could just pick this up as like, can you just imagine having been the age of these characters in the book and picking this kind of book up? Would be so great.
And for a cute story about a young girl meeting a Selkie. and developing feelings for her and like dealing with like, I don't know, friendship and like how do you deal with like middle school politics? I think she's in middle school. I don't remember.
I think that's right. Yeah. It's high school.
High school. So how do you deal with like high school politics? How do you deal with that versus like what you really want to do and how you want to be?
Yeah. So well done.
So well done.
So great. Highly recommend.
Yeah. And let me tell you, those little graphic novels feel so good in your hand. I love it. I love a big two, obviously. But something about a thick graphic novel, it just hits different when you find one. It's good.
Does. Especially when you can just like sit down and read it in one sitting and enjoy it and live your life. Like, it's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, my last one. Although I feel like I left out a bunch because I didn't. That's just normal. I didn't throw my usuals like Stranger in Paradise, Sunstone, those kind of things. Messy Roots, because I wanted to add something that was newer. So Messy Roots, her queerness is not. Or sorry, I think it's she, they. She, they, pros. Their queerness is not like the main part of the book, but it is part of it. Messy Roots is about Laura Gow's. It is a memoir. It's about being a Wuhanese American, and they talk about growing up, what that was like, and then what it was like to be like a young first generation immigrant, and then also not really quite knowing where they fit in, not knowing enough Chinese and Wuhanese to really feel like at home back in China, but not really feeling they fit in here in the US, while also dealing with falling for women and what does that mean, and how do you reconcile that with like values back home and expectations, and just trying to deal with your own being a grown up and being awkward and liking geeky stuff and not knowing how to talk to people. Love it, and I love Laura Gow, and I love the artwork in that book. Eventually I'll bring you a copy, you can read it, but
I was gonna say I really want to read it, but...
super recommend it. Very good.
Love that. We had some overlap, so I have 2 left. And I think I was like, how did we get off on numbers? I'm like, yeah, because we had overlap. Yeah. The Tea Dragon Society, of course. The whole trilogy by Kay O'Neill.
Yeah.
Just beautiful and wonderful. And if you don't know it already, I mean, there's a beautiful universe here where there's these little tea dragons. They're dragons. They grow like tea leaves from their head, and you can harvest them. And it's a magical, beautiful world. And there's tons of beautiful representation of all kinds. And the art's incredible. And of course, it's Kay O'Neill. So, like, truly, when we talk about warm hugs of a book, the warmest, coziest hug of a book, everyone needs to enjoy this one.
You can't ever go wrong with Kay O'Neill.
You can't.
No.
Definitely cannot. And lastly, we just talked about it, but it's already made my list. Of course, it's a Junior High by Tina Tara and Tilly Walden. I'll never shut up about it. I'm very excited. Forever.
I loved it, but I'm more so I'm just really happy for you.
Thank you. It really is my dream team.
It's like when worlds collide for
you. I'll never not be gushing about it. So I had to make the list, of course.
Rightly so. And I'd love to let people in the chat. What's your like career books you really like? All of Angela. Yeah. Girlfriend's Perfect. FF Fantastic Four Volume 2? Wait, is this related to queer people or is this something else? Oh, Blood Syndicate 90s with good representation and kicks ass. Yep. Loki, Agent of Asgard, and 10th Realm. Yeah. And Harley Quinn Breaking Glass. I love Harley Quinn Breaking Glass. I didn't mention any of the big 2 stuff, mostly because I feel like that's what gets out there a lot. Sure. Not that people watching here don't know about these books usually. You're on this level. But DC's been great about like representation with Harley Quinn in the past several years, which I'm really appreciative of. I've really enjoyed reading those and reading like the continuation of like the show and things like that. I haven't read out of course, Clementine and Wind. And I haven't read Iceman actually, but I love Wind, love Clementine.
Yeah, I really liked I think I only read the first trade. I feel like there's 2 trades maybe. But I really like the Iceman I read as well. But yeah, Wind and Clementine, 1,000% so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And And then I haven't gotten to read yet some of the other like queer books that have come out from DC that I'm kind of behind on, because I know that things have changed. Like Superman has a boyfriend, Superboy, I guess, Jonathan Kent, and then Tim Drake has a boyfriend. I don't know what the consensus in the fan base if they like those boyfriends or not, but I know that that's a thing that's happening. That I just have to catch up on. I didn't mention Far Sector, even though she's queer and wonderful. Oh man, something else took my tongue. Oh, and that new, it was not Dreamer, but Dreamer is queer and wonderful. But there's that YA DC book I want us to read. It's like Prettiest Star or Galaxy or something.
Oh yeah, I can't think of
You
it
know
either.
what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah.
Superman, and yes, all boyfriends. Just FF, okay. Avant-garde, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Bloom,
see, this is where
yes.
you say stuff, and I'm like, oh my
Yes.
gosh. I've read Commander Rao, 80 Days, I haven't read Fence. Love
Fence.
it.
So
Galaxy
good.
Prettiest Start, that's the one I was thinking about. Girl Haven, I don't think have I read that?
I've read it.
Maybe?
It's been a long time, but I've read it. Of
Heavy
course,
Vi-
Heavy Vinyl. Of course.
Yeah. I don't think I've read Kim and Kim. I think it's been on my list.
I haven't either. It's on my list as well. And so is Magic Fish.
So much. Nimona, we just read recently, so.
Yeah. Nimona's great. Mooncakes is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to read Magic Fish. Maybe get from my library.
I've picked it up a few times from my library, and I just never get to it.
Just finished up the Young Avengers Omnis and Far Sector. Love those. Have Check Please waiting for me in the library. Going to read those this weekend. Oh, love Check Please. I want to have Elliot read Check Please, so he can talk about the hockey bits.
Maybe we should do a hockey Check Please show with the boys.
I would like that.
Yeah.
I think Check Please also references because they have that costume party where two of the guys dress up as Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, which arguably is like the gayest choice. And I love Booster and Blue, so I think it'd be fun. The next thing I'm having Elliot read, I picked one for next month, but to have it later because it's like 53 issues, is The Titans. So that's the next like.
Nice.
Oh, of course, Paper Girls, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Man, so many things. Because there's also like in Outsiders, if you're looking for like an earlier queer relationship, in Outsiders, Thunder and Grace Choi. Perfect. Nice. Finally showing some like queer Amazons, because they all are, and they don't ever show any of it, which kills me. Because like Artemis is very much gayed up, and then recently I think she kissed Jason Todd, but it was area of contention on the internet because Jason Todd told Angela, he said, oh, you kiss pretty good for a girl, and she said, you kiss pretty good for a guy. And you don't say that unless you've been kissing other people, and it's not common for you to kiss.
Right.
That it's a weird thing to write. So the whole internet was like, because the Jason Todd fangirlies, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, I bet.
The girl, the queer people on the internet love Jason Todd. Young queer people. They also ship him with Roy Harper. I'm not a fan, but I support them in their ships. You know, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Not for me, I get it. The one thing I don't feel like we read enough of is more like asexual representation in books.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've only read a few throughout the years. I'm trying to even remember the names. I think A is for Asexual was a graphic like memoir that was really good. Something like that.
I know Connor Hawke, Green Arrow's son, is asexual. And then Gwenpool just came out. She's on the asexual like spectrum. I don't know where she falls in that, but
cool.
Yep, they're Gwenpool Infinity. Yeah, Runaways. Oh, love Runaways. Non-superheroes on Sun's Beaming or Spinning. Both Legend of Korra. Yeah. Flintstones? Prince and the Dressmaker. Oh.
Yeah. 1000%. I almost grabbed that. It's near me.
So good. And of course, Monstrous. Love Monstrous. I still need to read that second deluxe. I haven't picked it up.
Yeah, I don't think I would be on the first volume. Me too.
I've been buying more prose, so I haven't been buying as many comic books because I know I read them so fast. So I haven't been as. I have a lot I want to read, but like I'm way behind on like Wonder Woman Amazon books. I have a ton on my wish list because I'm like to keep track of them. I am behind on keeping that collection going. Connor's DC Pride story last year about him being asexual was really good. Okay, I'll check that out because I think I've got some of those open. I'm reading through right now. The issue of Flinch was literally had Adam and Steve getting married. I love that. That's so good. Well. That was fun.
Yeah, totally. If anyone's watching this later, please let us know more recommendations and more of your favorite books as well. Your favorite queer books. We could always use more. And I think we figured out what the next show is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You want to do the honors?
Are you saying because you forgot?
I know, but I don't know who it's by. So.
Are we not doing Cosmonites? I forgot.
Oh.
What are we doing?
I thought we were doing
Oh God. They're both by Hannah Templar.
So okay. That's right. I was like, I know it's my one I know, but I can't remember.
That's why I ordered it and sent it to you. Yeah we're doing Flung Out of Space by Hannah Templar.
Wonderful.
Which is a story about a real person, but some things are exaggerated. Grace Ellis, I think his name. I don't know. But we're doing that one. Sweet. And Cosmonites another time.
Absolutely.
But that will be like what, next Sunday?
Yeah. Yep.
No. If you're gonna be at Heroes Con, holler at Kristan. Stop by Reed's booth.
Yeah, come see Reed's table. He's on the app. Check him out.
I'll live vicariously. I almost switched everything around and came, but I was like, chill out.
I understand.
FOMO is real, but it's gonna be fine.
I'll definitely holler at you about what you want. Yep.
Yay. I think we ended it early because you can get packed or whatever because you're getting up rarely in the morning.
Way too early. Yep, that's right.
You should take some goofy pictures at Buc-ee's on the way.
I may have to.
Especially for our international viewers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be like, look at this nonsense.
Our international, and just anyone up that doesn't in like the mainland South. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll share some of that on my stories. So if anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, it's just at the Comics Lair. I'll be traveling and posting photos and stuff.
James, it's going to be next week because Andrew is in Miami. So next week.
Also, if you do check out my channel tomorrow during the regular reading update time, there will be a new video. So you'll at least have something to watch. Yay.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. And we'll see you all next time.
And buy some books from InStockTrades.com.
Yeah. Goodbye.